Okay, may I introduce you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so thank you for coming. So this is Zoe Krapp. She's the recruitment manager from HEC Paris. Okay, and she will be presenting all the programs they have. So it is a very famous university for basically business management, but also many other things that she will explain. Well, she will not only explain you about the university, but also about the selection process they do, and how, if you want to take part on their courses, so if you want to do mobility there, what is the process that you need to follow in order to apply. Okay, if you are interested, so I'm from Camins, from the civil engineering part, but then we can talk because maybe there will be some special process in order to do the application. Okay, so make sure that we talk afterwards, and then Rui, very good. So
Super. Okay, well, thank you so much for this lovely introduction and thank you for the welcome. Hello. You already know, but I'm Zoe Krabb, recruitment manager at HEC Paris. I'm in charge of applications coming from Southern Europe. So if ever you have any questions about applying to HEC or about the program in particular, I'm your contact. And so you can always contact me. I'll give you my email address at the end of the presentation. And how I do this presentation is I'll go into, like we said, the program, the application process, life at HEC Paris, as well as at the end, it's about 30-40 minutes, the presentation. And then at the end, we can do a little bit of a Q&A. And there's a little bit of a sign-up sheet going around. So if you can please sign up, then you'll receive our promotional emails after the fact. So without further ado, I'll get started on what is HEC Paris. So we are a graduate school for students basically having already finished at least a bachelor's and with less than 3 years of professional experience. Those are the programs that I'll promote today. The Master in Management, which is the double degree with your university. But we also have an MBA for students with more than 2 years of professional experience, as well as executive MBAs for working professionals that want to go back and get an MBA if they have 10+ years of professional experience. So, and then we also have summer school programs and PhD. So there's a wide range of students on campus that are like varying from years of professional experience, number of like degrees, bachelor's, master's, PhD, and that's HEC Paris, established in 1880. So I don't really spend that much time on the rankings. You can kind of see here, we're #1 in the world for the international finance, the #1 business school in Europe, and we have 4,600 degree-seeking students, 500, misspoke, with 150 nationalities represented across all programs. We have 130 international partners, of which UPC is one of our international partners. And 64% of our students are international students, meaning non-French. So you could be in the classroom, like that's at the heart of HEC is the diversity of our student body. You could be in the classroom with students from all around the world, and as well as students with varying academic backgrounds, which we'll see in a future slide. But all academic backgrounds are eligible to apply to these programs, the Master in Management in particular. And it's so it's the diversity of our students in terms of nationality, previous university, and previous studies. That's like one of the things we're very proud of at HEC. We also have 68,000 alumni, which is one of the larger alumni networks in the world, or in Europe. So it's one thing that you can base, like after your studies, it's a huge benefit to your degree from HEC is to have that alumni network to rely on to contact. If you're starting a business and you want to network, you can leverage that alumni network when looking for a job or looking for an internship. And we have a lot of alumni across the world, across all programs, but then we also have a number of alumni that are in Spain because we have these partnerships with UPC, UPM. So it's one of our larger alumni networks is, the first is probably in London, and then the second is probably in Spain, I think, with number of alumni. Teaching philosophy, so we go on high quality standards. In our Master in Management program, that means more class hours, over 350 hours in class. And we also have fewer students per class. So your largest class would be around 50 students, but it could be much smaller with some of your elective courses. It's less than 50 students, definitely. You'll always be taught by a main instructor, never by a TA, and that's part of their high quality standards. We also have, in speaking about our professors, the perfect balance between theory and practice. So we say 50% of our faculty are research oriented, and you'll be doing the theory with them. And then 50% of our faculty are more the practitioners, experts in their field, that really will help you with the hard skills and live case studies, company projects, really getting hands-on experience in the particular field that you decide to specialize in. So we also have an inspiring environment, our personal development program, which is with our career services, so that you can have access to a lot of different job offers and internships. You could do a personalized consultation with one of my colleagues in the career services. You could do mock interviews, CV reviews. All of those things are really to help you as a student kind of grow, not just in your studies, but also outside of studies in your career and your career goals, your ambitions. That's part of our personal development program. We also have, throughout the year, many networking events with alumni or with a lot of our corporate partners. We'll have a lot of networking events. So we say there are 5 job fairs on campus per year, but really I think it's almost 1 per month. Depending on the sector you're interested in, there's almost a job fair every month. So that's something that is really important, is the personal development and career kind of focus. We also have a strong campus social life, and I'll talk about that in a future slide. So the Master in Management. So there was a little bit about HEC and our teaching philosophy, and now we're going to go into the specifics of the Master in Management program. The first year, so, oops, went a little too fast, I think. Nope. That's the one I was looking for. Okay, so class profile. That is not what I thought I was going to talk about. So what does the Master in Management look like? Is there are 250 international students. And there are 400 French students that come from a different track. So you can see the former university location of our Master in Management students over at the left-hand side. 70% are from Europe and 30% from the rest of the world. There are 56 nationalities represented, 40% women. I'd love to see that. 40% women is quite good for a business school, but I'd love to see that go into gender parity in future years. So I'm super happy to have, here we have 3 and 3. So that's really great. I'd love to see you apply. The average age, average GMAT, and again, all academic backgrounds are eligible to apply. So that's part of the diversity of the student body. Is you can see the different backgrounds that our students have: business management, engineering, and then smaller percentages in economics, the humanities, and hard sciences. We also, nope, that's all I was going to say about that. So, the program, so the Master in Management program is a 2-year program, but it's usually done over the course of 3 years. And that's because after the first year in the program, which I'm going to talk about in specifics in a second, students take an optional gap year. And if you haven't worked prior to joining HEC Paris, that optional gap year is more like a mandatory gap year. Because in order to graduate with this program, you do have to have a certain amount of professional experience. And first I'll present the M1, and then I'll talk more about the gap year. So the M1, the first year in the program, is the generalist phase. So you're grasping a global picture, developing leadership skills, working on soft skills, having core courses, elective courses, foundations in business and management, and then conferences like case studies, career fairs, networking events, all of that. So the first year is really kind of a general year where you're, as all of you are currently studying engineering, the first year is kind of to get you in the foundations of business and management, and to get you to have a little bit of taste of kind of everything. And then in the gap year, the students, so often students, like 90% of our students take the gap year. And even if they've worked previous to joining HEC, they want to take advantage of that gap year for a few reasons. One, it's to utilize our career services to their full extent, to have use the career services to find an internship. Another reason would be to maybe decide, have a little bit more time to decide your specialization for the year 2 in the program. So say you're thinking about specializing in finance, and then you do an internship during your gap year, and you're like, wow, I did not like that at all. I'm super glad that I did this gap year and decided, not to specialize in finance for my second year. So just to get a taste of something a little bit deeper hands-on knowledge of a subject you're interested in. And then another reason is maybe to work, you usually get paid for those internships. So you would be able to get a little money, maybe to put it towards paying for your M2 year. And we can talk about financing at the end of the presentation. But so those are some of the reasons that students use the gap year. Then the year M2, which is the second, but really the third year of the program because of the gap year, you have 2 options for the specialization phase. So either you specialize at HEC in one of the, you can see over there kind of the different programs we offer in the year 2, as well as you can have them written here, the specializations on campus. And then the second option is to do a specialization in international business, and that you would do 1 semester at HEC and then 1 semester at a CEMS Alliance school. So that's CEMS, CEMS, is a global alliance of mostly European business schools. And so we have a lot of partnerships across Europe, ESADE in Spain, Bocconi in Italy, Trinity in Dublin, St. Gallen's in Switzerland. So you could do 1 semester at HEC and then 1 semester kind of like in Erasmus at one of the CEMS Alliance schools. What's interesting, the benefit of doing the CEMS Alliance in addition to getting an abroad experience, is that you get the membership of CEMS. You kind of have access to their membership, like members, kind of network. So not only do you have the HEC alumni network, but you also would have the CEMS Alliance network to kind of leverage after graduation. So that's another possibility, is that you either stay at HEC for the full year, or you do 1 semester at HEC and 1 in the CEMS Alliance. So going on to say, what do students do after graduation from the Master in Management program? So as you can see, 99% of our students are employed within 3 months. 40% of graduates are working outside their home country. You can see over on the left-hand side the percentage of where students are after graduation. So majoritarily in France, the UK, and Europe. Then I think it's like 19 or 20% that are still that are in the rest of the world. So mostly students are staying in Europe, France, the UK, and that's because at HEC we're really renowned in Europe, and we have a lot of corporate connections and company connections for students to get hired after graduation in Europe. So you can see as well the 5 job fairs, which I already talked about, usually many more. And then the different jobs by sector. So consulting, financial services are the most prevalent jobs sectors after graduation, but then we also have smaller percentages that work in tech, and 8% of students that launch their own company. So that is something, as well as the diversity, which I've already talked about, but another one of our values at HEC is entrepreneurial spirit. So the fact that we have 8% of our students after graduation that are starting their own company, then that's also something we're super proud of, and we like to encourage entrepreneurs and students who want to start their own company. The certificate, so this is something that you would do if you decide to stay at HEC your second year and do one of our specializations at HEC. You can choose in the month of May to do a certificate. So the certificate is over 100 contact hours with a renowned kind of business. You can see who have done the certificates in the past, although it's not guaranteed that in 2 to 3 years from now, it'll be the same. It'll probably be, if not similar, it'll be something like that. So for example, engagement and commitment towards society with LVMH, Louis Vuitton. That what's interesting about these certificates, they're not mandatory, they're optional, but it's a great networking opportunity with a well-known company such as Louis Vuitton. And then it's also a networking opportunity within HEC. Because if you, for example, have decided to specialize in marketing in your second year you'll be only with marketing students. You won't have very much interaction with the fellow Master in Management students that are, for example, studying finance. All your classes will be with marketing. You'll have most of your interactions with other marketing students. And then when you do the certificate, you could have students from any different specialization. So finance, accounting, marketing, any of our specializations. So it's not only a great networking opportunity with a famous company, but networking within HEC with our fellow students that are maybe in a different specialization than you. So campus and student life, just tell you a little bit about campus. Up at the top is our S building, and that's one of our newest erected buildings on campus. It's campus, well, down at the bottom, just from right to left quickly, we have the Learning Center, the library. In the middle there, it's one of our graduation ceremonies, which we hadn't been able to do for 2 years due to COVID. And this year we were able to celebrate the promotion of 2020, 2021, and 2022. It was quite the party with 3 graduating classes. If you can imagine, like 3 or 4 times as many students. And then over at the far left, we have one of our student residences. So just to go into a little bit more information about campus life. So campus HEC Paris is not actually located in Paris. It's located in the small town called Riom-Josas, which is between Paris and Versailles. It is like 340 acres of beautiful wooded campus. There are any sort of sports that you can imagine on campus, like badminton, football, rugby, a gym, tennis courts, and just generally like a forest that you can walk and run in. So it's a really large kind of suburb campus, and my colleagues always say it's in the style of an American style campus because most students live on campus, and then you have all your activities like extracurricular. We have 130 student clubs, be they cultural, humanitarian, professional, sports. And so you do, all your extracurriculars on campus. You have sports facilities, you have restaurants, and your classes. So it's American style because you can really live on campus and you don't really have to ever leave campus. That you can pretty much stay there, and it's a really we really want students to create a community on campus, and that was the reason that in the 1960s they moved HEC Paris from Paris to Riom-Josas, really to create long-lasting bonds with our students because they live on campus and they participate in campus activities. And that's why we have this 68,000 alumni that we're really proud of, is because there's really strong connections to campus and your fellow students. And that's something that's super important at HEC. And just a small note at the bottom there about on-campus accommodation. As you are applying, probably most of you are not French, you would be guaranteed housing. So you wouldn't have to worry about, am I gonna get housing or not? You're guaranteed housing, and it's probably, you'll be priority for on-campus accommodation. And I would highly encourage you to take advantage of on-campus accommodation, because it can be difficult in France with, they have culture of la grève, which means going on strike. And so it can be difficult to get to, if you live in Paris, to get to campus. It's not super easy if there's like transport strikes, trying to get there on time for classes. It's much easier if you live on campus. So now we'll go into how to apply. HEC takes a holistic approach to the admissions process. So that means that we're going to be looking at 4 different pillars of your application. First, your academic excellence. So students have a high GPA when they apply to HEC, and in order to be admitted, you have to have academic excellence. Then intercultural sensitivity, or cross-cultural sensitivity, extracurriculars and internships, and your strong motivation. So cross-cultural sensitivity, that could be the number of languages that you speak. Already, I imagine you're probably trilingual, each of you, if not more than that. So the fact that you speak multiple languages, maybe if you've traveled abroad, or if you've had an internship with an international company, or just at some sort of volunteer work or club, you've worked with people of different cultures than you. So that's cross-cultural sensitivity, and that's important. It's an important aspect of your application because of the diversity of our student body. We want to make sure that students will integrate with the other students coming from all around the world. And so that's one of the important aspects. Then there's also internships or extracurricular activities. So perhaps if my memory serves correctly, for your master's at UPC, you have to do an internship. Yeah. Depends. Okay. So it's not necessary, but you don't do so many student clubs.
No, in civil engineering they have to do an internship, but yes, so in civil engineering, in master in civil engineering, they do have to do an internship.
Okay.
But it's not the case for telecommunication.
Okay.
It's not mandatory. They have the chance to do it, but
Yes.
it's not mandatory.
Okay. Well, in any case, if you've done internships or extracurricular activities, it's in one category. So I have students usually from Spain that have done maybe like one but not the other, and that's okay if you haven't done both, if you've done one or the other. If you have, like, we can usually, if you're like, yeah, I haven't done an internship and I've just been doing studies, I haven't had extracurricular activities, usually I can, you can send me your CV and we can have a consultation, and we can usually find something that you do outside of school that could enter into this category. And then last, strong motivation. So that you make evident in your answers to the essay questions. And then if you're invited to the interview, then you make your motivation evident in the interview as well. So this is the kind of outline of the process of admissions. You can see down at the bottom the supporting documents. So because of the partnership with HEC Paris and UPC, it's like not so many documents to provide. We waive a lot of the documents for your application. So it's pretty easy application. You have to apply by the deadline, and that I'll show you the deadlines on the next slide. Then step 2 is admissibility, and that's when we determine if we're going to invite you to an interview or not. Most times, UPC students shouldn't really worry about being admissible or not, because we almost always render our our partner students as admissible. So there's not really that much stress. Then step 3, the interview. So interviews are done online, Zoom. So we're evaluating 3 things in the Master in Management. First, your oral English. Second, your soft skills. And third, your strong motivation. So it's really it's more of a conversation. It's not, you don't have to have any technical knowledge about business or management. It's just kind of to talk to you about your sort of ambition for the program, and to talk about your career goals perhaps. So it's really just a way for us to get to know you and your ambition for this program. And then step 4, the admission results. So accepted, waitlist, or denied. Here are the deadlines. So I have outlined very lightly in gray where I would like the UPC partners to apply. So you can apply in round 3 or round 4. Round 3, the deadline is March 1st. So if you, you can apply by March 1st if you feel like your application is ready. And I tend to encourage most students to apply in rounds 1 through 3. So for you, the only applicable round would be round 3, because we are accepting students in round 2 and round 1, round 2, and round 3. So by the time round 4 rolls around, we may have a little more limited spaces. So I tend to encourage students, if possible, to apply in round 3. You can start your application now, so it's November 8th. If you'd like, you can start your application today, and just you don't submit it by January 2nd, it'll get rolled over to round 3, and you can submit it in round 3. The advantage to doing that is maybe to have a chance to look at the essay questions and maybe start thinking, okay, yeah, so this is the essay question. How am I going to answer it? Maybe I'll start, I feel like I have time right now. I could start writing my responses and then come back to it. So it's just, it's up to you. You can start your application now and then submit it when you're ready in round 3. So admissions are not on a rolling basis. You could submit your application after the round 2 deadline, so January 5th or January 1st at 10 a.m. And there's no advantage to either option. So it's not a rolling basis. All applications are going to be looked at after the deadline. And the most important rule is to apply when your application is strongest. So if you want to apply in round 3 and then you realize, wow, I really haven't had time to work on my essay questions. I think I could do much better. I could take more time. Then I think probably the best thing is to wait until round 4 and just apply when you're most confident in all your application materials. And it's much better to apply in a later round with a stronger application than to apply in an earlier round with a more average application. But yeah, so that being said, I would encourage you to apply in round 3 if possible. The tuition fees. So this you can see is the mock-up of 3 years in the program. It amounts to about 53,000 euros for the whole Master in Management program. This is purely tuition fees. So you have to imagine that you would also need to budget for living expenses. In 2022, that means approximately 1,400 euros per month for food, housing, leisure activities, and insurance, etc. So in addition to the tuition fees, it's also, you need to think about paying for monthly kind of living expenses. So we do have some scholarships for which you are considered automatically, the Excellence Scholarship and the Women's High Potential Scholarship. So these, after the admission results, if you were accepted to HEC, then no application necessary, you'll be automatically considered for one of these scholarships. So they can range from 3,000 euros to up to 15,000 euros for the Women's High Potential. Everything's taken into account from your application, the interview, the documents, everything is taken into account, and we just will determine the top students based on who we thought were the best candidates of that round. So it's merit-based, and so you have the excellence and the Women's High Potential that there's no application necessary, you're automatically considered. Then we have the Avenir Scholarship, which is for Spanish and Franco-Spanish students. So this one you have to apply to separately. You apply through the French Embassy in Spain. It's through Campus France. You apply, and that's a 5,000 euro scholarship. Last year we awarded 4, and it's possible that we could award 4 again. And it's just direct tuition deduction from HEC, but you do have to apply separately to the Avenir. We also have the Equal Opportunity Scholarship through HEC, which is a needs-based scholarship. So this means that you would apply after doing the application, you can apply to the needs-based scholarship as well. So there is an application necessary if you're interested in applying to the needs-based scholarship. HEC will take a needs-blind approach to the admissions. So that means that first you'll be admitted to HEC, and then we'll look at if you're asking for a scholarship. We're not going to attribute admission to students solely based on if they ask for a scholarship or not. It doesn't get taken into account in the decision-making process. So after you've completed the application, you can, like the application to HEC, you can do an application for the needs-based scholarship and be considered for that. Something of note is that it can be daunting to see the scholarship fees at HEC. 24,000 euros, and even if you're awarded 5,000 euros, it's still, you have to come up with 19,000 euros and maybe living expenses. But tuition fees are due at the end of September, and at the beginning of September, if you're admitted to HEC, we do have banks that come to campus, and they have like a lot of different opportunities for students to take out a student loan with them. EU nationals, it's pretty easy through the HEC brand. We have a lot of partnerships with banks, and if you are looking for a loan, you can do it once you arrive at campus. For like the first 2 weeks of school, there will be banks that come and are I think pretty willing to loan to HEC students, because in France they know that after graduation you'll probably be hired at a pretty high salary, and you can pretty easily pay off your student loans. So that's just something of note. Is I had an UPM HEC alumni came and spoke with me in Madrid, and he said it was super easy for him to get his loan, and it was kind of difficult for him. He tried to get a loan in Spain, but HEC was not as well known, and so when he came to France, he was very easily granted a loan with a French bank. So that concludes my presentation. You can see here the my email address. Feel free to always contact me on this email address, and if you have any questions about the program after today. But I'd like to open up the floor if anyone has any questions for right now.
Thank you very much, Joey. Yeah. So, more questions? Thanks, Maria. I guess it was pretty clear.
Great. Okay. Well, please feel free to come up here and like take a small thing. I have a pen. This you can put on the back of your phone and put business cards. This is a brochure about how to apply, and this thing is for your webcam to like block your webcam. So come up and introduce yourself so that when you contact me on this email, then I have your face and your name. So thank you. Have a nice. Oh, hey, we have a question.
Yeah, I do have a question, but it's more, well, I don't know. So how does the compatibility with the master in telecommunications work? Like the combined program with the master in telecommunications.
You need to do the first year here in our master in the MET, and then you have to move to the HEC master
All
with
right,
the track Zoe.
so you just do 1 year of telecommunications.
And then the 3 or 2 years and
Yes. Depending if you take the second year or not.
then you get both masters.
Yes.
So then
That's the point.
Yeah.
the normal master in telecommunications is 1 year.
No, 2 years.
2 years, so you do.
It depends on the master you do, but the master that allows you to get the type of degree, is the MET, and it's 120 ECTS, so it's 2 years.
Okay, if we do it in one, do we need to do all the ECTS or the?
No, only 60 ECTS here in Barcelona, and then the remaining ones are covered by the ones that you do in HEC.
But this year can be done in 2 years. I can distribute the 60 credits in 2 years and apply to HEC.
In 2 years?
I mean, to like, if I'm doing an internship in another company,
I don't think so. I think that you have to do first. You have to do it in advance. I mean, you have to do the first year here in.
yeah, but I mean, the 60 credits that I have to do here, it's in 1 year. I can do it in, for example, a year and a half. I can start in February, the master,
Yeah, sure. You can take more time that it's actually necessary to.
and then to the, okay. And between the master here in telecommunications and HEC, can I do a 1 year gap to do an
So
internship?
start
Start
with the gap year. You mean?
Yeah, start, but yeah, if
I think that it's a question for Zoe more than for me.
Okay, so you'd like to do a gap year between UPC and the Master in
yeah,
Management?
to work in a company, technological company.
I don't see a problem with that, except that you would only be able to apply when you're in your gap year. And you wouldn't be guaranteed admission at HEC. Like you couldn't apply, for example, if you're doing your master's in telecom right now and you apply, you're expected to join us in September 2023. So there wouldn't be a way for you to like defer admission for a year. You could like do your gap year and apply for September 2024 during your gap year if you have the nomination from telecom, if that's no problem. But if you're not admitted, then you've just done a gap year and you're not gonna like it's just kind of that you'd have to think about, that you're not guaranteed admittance.
But the process will be the same as coming
As
from
long
UPC.
as I think as long as telecom will like nominate you, then I don't see any problem with that. Then it would be the same, yeah. But you wouldn't be able to be nominated this year and then not come in September. Like you can't defer your attendance. Yeah.
And how many places are available here in telecommunications? It depends on the university.
Yeah.
I don't have the number right now,
Okay.
so but I can send the information to you.
As far as HEC is concerned, you can nominate as many students as you want.
Yeah, sure.
So if we wanna do this whole program for the application for the HEC is done before starting the MET or after the first year? After the first year.
I would say during the first.
During
year.
the first year, yes.
Yeah,